I'm Dick Thornburgh. When I was Attorney General of the United States, we saw to it that the Department of Justice went after white-collar crime the same way we went after drug trafficking. I can tell you that policy has continued through every change of administration, and hot pursuit and heavy punishment of antitrust violators have become the order of the day. In April, a group of people met in a hotel room at a Lake Tahoe resort. They were all executives from competing companies. They had been there before discussing the same subject. One of them had become an informant for federal investigators. This time, he was secretly videotaping the meeting.
Production and releases from inventory.
Excellent. So we're talking a 5% cutback through the next quarter, right?
That should support a decent price step up in June.
Good.
5% across the board? All of us? Same time, same amount? Isn't that kind of blatant?
No. Who's going to know? And even if someone's
And
familiar
who outside
with
your plant, Jim,
even
knows
if,
your normal output?
if they know that, how's what we just said going to get outside this room?
Exactly.
In fact, the entire 2-hour conversation got outside that room on tape. That and other video and audio tapes secretly recorded at the Lake Tahoe Resort and elsewhere were entered as evidence of a conspiracy among 3 U.S. and 2 foreign corporations to fix production levels and prices. All the people except the informant on the so-called Tahoe tapes were indicted. They and their companies pled guilty or were convicted. One of them was Jim Roberts.
How are you responding? No comment.
In a few days, Jim will appear for sentencing with the others, and he expects the worst, with good reason. Going to the maximum calculation in the sentencing guidelines, the judge threw the book at his company, and probably is about to throw the book at him, too.
Thank you.
Seems like every time you open the paper, you read how aggressively the U.S. Department of Justice, the FBI, U.S. attorneys and local prosecutors, not to mention plaintiffs' lawyers, are going after all kinds of antitrust wrongdoing. Anti-competitive schemes like the one that opened this program are a major target. Although we've changed names and product details in our Tahoe tape story, things like that really do happen. And in every case, the should-haves always sound the same. When he found himself in that hotel room for the first time, the person we've called Jim Roberts should have broken off the conversation, gotten himself out of that room, and called a lawyer for advice. By the time he did call, it was too late for anything but plea bargaining. In fact, it was even too late for that. What kind of person would a Jim Roberts be? Jim was an executive at one of the 5 companies who controlled 77% of the world market.
Set for pickup after school.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it.
Sure?
Yeah.
You can handle it.
Hey,
Hey, sweetie. Hey, can you get the door for me, please?
If you knew Jim and figured he was just not the type who'd end up under criminal indictment, you'd be in for a big surprise.
Speak to your dad.
Dad?
His family and friends certainly were.
Dad! There's some people here to see you.
The family was in the middle of the usual morning rush to get off to jobs and school
James Roberts? Yeah.
when FBI agents appeared at the door with a search warrant.
Let's see that, please.
And Jim Roberts became a news item, a target of an investigation.
For what? Well, I don't know.
Bye, Dad.
Yeah, see you, bud.
Jim called a company lawyer.
What should I tell these guys?
He was told search warrants had also been served at headquarters. He was told the company was cooperating
At the office?
fully. He was told he should, too.
Shall I come in?
The agents demanded access to Jim's in-home office. The warrant authorized seizure of his business and personal records, computer directories, paper files, appointment calendars, phone bills, correspondence. A call came from his friend George in another state. Investigators had appeared at his company.
Hey,
He
George.
wanted to warn Jim to be ready for them.
It's too late. They're already here. Yeah, in my home.
No, look, George, I don't think we ought to be talking now. You know what I mean? Hey, don't worry. We'll get through this. I gotta go, okay?
Mr. Arms, can I see you about something, please?
That same morning, across the country, U.S. Marshals were arriving at homes and offices of other people in the industry to rummage through desks and file drawers and PCs for evidence of collusion among competitors. At Jim's own office, staff were banned from their desks and workstations as marshals carted away boxes of documents and removed personal computers.
Do you remember the details, what was said?
The company advised Jim to retain his own lawyer, preferably a criminal lawyer.
Remembered quoting the prices to them. You better look through your notes.
Well, we
just
didn't
in
change
case.
anything. Look, this is...
During the months that followed, he would spend more time with lawyers than with his family or his job.
Yes, right here. We need to check this over.
In public, Jim strongly maintained his own and his company's innocence.
There was no conspiracy. It was just common sense. We all looked at the same figures, came to the same conclusions. And there's nothing that says otherwise.
But as it happened, there was. Their own words. When people meet behind closed doors in an out-of-the-way resort hotel to discuss fixing prices and production levels, they don't imagine that one of them will tape and tell. In this instance, one of them did. The methods used to investigate this case show how far prosecutors will go to nail alleged white-collar criminals, and what tools they have at their command. Informants wearing concealed tape recorders, bugged hotel rooms, hidden video cameras, wiretaps, the search and seizure of documents and computer files, programmed market analyses, and more. The Tahoe tapes also show the naive ideas held by ordinary business people who perpetrate antitrust violations. White-collar felons may think their little deals don't matter to anyone but themselves, that what they're doing is not really a crime, or that nobody is watching. In one taped phone conversation, the seriousness of their actions and the possibility that they could be under surveillance came up. One of the group laughed it off. Exhibit 24, a conference call between George Brown, Larry Calkins, and Roberts.
If you raise your damn rates 10%, we'll raise ours the next morning. George, we can't. Sure you can. You'll make more dough, and so will we. It'll be worth it.
I mean, we can't be talking about these things.
Bull. Jim, we can talk about any damn thing we want.
Not here. I'm in the office.
What's the big deal?
What, you think somebody's listening in on the line?
Oh, if somebody's listening in, let's give them a real earful. Okay, you wiretappers, here's the deal.
George.
Robert is going to raise, and George Brown, Larry Calkins, and Brian Andrews are all going to follow the next day.
If anybody is listening, we're in deep trouble.
Wait. I hear sirens. We're being busted.
Okay,
They're breaking
George,
down the door.
Funny, George.
A year later, it was no laughing matter. All parties to the call were committing a criminal violation of the Sherman Act, Section 1, punishable by fines and jail terms. Even if the call had not resulted in actually fixing higher prices, the attempt was chargeable as a conspiracy to fix prices. Using the telephone in the conspiracy added charges of wire fraud. Exhibit 37 was taped by a camera concealed in a package at breakfast before a trade show.
Good morning. Hey, Larry. Finally smell the coffee? Well, it was a late night last night. Brian's been waiting to talk
Hey,
to
Larry,
you.
we got to talk. DBL
Okay.
Group, they're pouring product into the market.
Their new plant just came online.
I have the new price schedule.
They're dropping prices through the floor.
We got to talk about this. We got
Brian,
a response.
Brian, we can't, okay? We can't. There are laws in the U.S. There are laws against this kind of thing. We can't talk
Only
about
in the US. You're the only country with competition laws.
Oh, come on, Brian.
The EU has laws. Every country has laws. England, France, Germany.
There's laws
England.
against speeding. What are we going to do, creep along, let
That's
DBL
good,
push in
Jim.
front of us?
We
Is that
got
what
to
you
talk
want?
about this. We got to
Okay,
discuss
fine,
this.
fine, all right? But later.
Okay, just as long as you understand.
Upstairs. I mean, George has got to be in on this anyway, right? Come on, let's eat some breakfast.
Exhibit 38. Later that day, another video was made by a camera concealed in a table lamp in a room upstairs.
Free pens, Brian? So, Larry, what's up?
Well, Brian here would like us to get DBL to back off.
These people have dropped their scheduled prices into a pit. They're buying market share, my market.
Where'd you get the new price list,
I managed to come by. Look, I got it, and I'm set, okay?
Look, I know these people, DBL, they will price us back down to where we were a year ago.
They're not big players.
But they want to be. They've already got a big part of the Pacific Rim. Next, they'll take 40% of the EU, then Eastern Europe, and
Then they'll land on us. We have to do something. Obvious what we have to do. Underprice them,
Exactly.
flood the market, drive their prices below cost. Anything new?
Squeeze them out.
I'll squeeze them in. Right? Could we
That
do
could
that?
work.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we could work them in if they want to play.
Make room for them on the bench.
The scene played to the grand jury like a surveillance camera record of an antitrust crime in progress. Agreeing to lower prices to squeeze a competitor out of business is a violation of the Sherman Act and the Federal Trade Commission Act. Exhibit 61, a court-ordered wiretap, was a phone conversation between George Brown and Roberts.
George, our custom products division asked if I could find out why your people stopped buying from them.
Because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to bring your list prices back up with the rest of us after we took care of DBL.
George,
Instead, one of your people lowballed us and grabbed off an important account.
Yeah, I know.
My account.
I know about that. It was just Freddie trying to win a trophy for the month.
If your division takes a container away from us with that kind of pricing, we'll take 2 containers away from your custom division.
That's
So
kind
tell Freddie or whoever he should get his trophies bowling.
That's kind of rough, isn't it, George?
You play low ball, we play hard ball. Come on, Jim,
Fred-
we've had this discussion before.
Freddie saw we had a lot of inventory. He just wanted to move it.
Tell him to leave it on the shelf till he gets the word from you. It's up to you to keep your people on target,
I'll tell him.
or your custom division can take our account right out of their Rolodex.
I'll tell him.
Will you tell him that?
I'll tell him.
The tape was offered as evidence of a boycott and price fixing. After months of intense price pressure, DBL caved in and asked to join the group. They were allocated a slice of the market at an all-day meeting, once again at Lake Tahoe, Exhibit 81. All 5 companies were present, including a representative of DBL.
Look, we can all maintain a healthy share of a growing market with good profit if everybody follows the playbook.
And as long as we keep the outsiders on the outside, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Your plan is reasonable. Our home office is in agreement to accept.
That's the idea. Okay,
The
now
tape,
we had one
testimony, and seized documents were evidence of agreements between competitors to allocate territories, limit production, and fix prices.
That's right, and I think you were complaining about that, weren't you?
After 2 years of secret investigation, rumors about the inquiry surfaced, and the conspiracy began to unravel. Exhibit 86, a telephone conversation between Roberts, George Brown, and Larry Calkins.
Remember my joke about someone listening in?
Yeah.
Legal department just got a notice about an inquiry. Request for documents and...
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they just told me...
Look, we better just stop talking here. Better stop writing.
Sterilize your files.
George.
Wipe off the fingerprints.
Enough said. I got the message. Do you still have those volume allocations Brian faxed to us?
The charts, the maps,
Yeah.
the DBL thing.
Well, let's not say no
email.
more, you know?
If you've got that stuff, it's time
listen,
for
do you think
your
we ought to-
shredder to have a feeding
Enough
frenzy.
said. We'll talk later.
The tape captured yet another felony, destroying evidence, obstruction of justice. In the last of the Tahoe tapes, we hear the voices of people panicked by what they know about heavy penalties in recent antitrust cases. Everything from sports shoes to seafood, toys to industrial materials, automobiles, computers, colleges, even entertainment have been targets of antitrust investigations, indictments, and lawsuits. 6 transportation companies paid nearly $80 million in fines and over $300 million in fare restitution in one of the biggest class action lawsuits ever. Manufacturers of specialized papers faced fines of $10 million or twice the amount of the illegal gain per count. Drug manufacturers agreed to pay $410 million to settle complaints of discriminating against some customers by denying discounts. In a record-setting case, one company recently pled guilty and paid the largest fine ever in a criminal antitrust case, $100 million, and will pay another $90 million to settle class actions. and faces more than 80 federal and state lawsuits from customers and shareholders. In our Tahoe tapes case, on November 18, Jim Roberts and several others were arrested and charged with multiple counts of price fixing, conspiracy, wire fraud, and obstruction of an investigation. Their companies pled guilty or no contest. Fines calculated according to the federal sentencing guidelines were some of the highest ever in a criminal antitrust case. Brian Andrews fled the country just before the trial. He's fighting extradition to the United States. Some months later, Roberts packed a few things in an overnight case and left the house to appear for sentencing.
No, I think I've taken care of all that.
He was fully prepared for that evening to be his first night behind bars. Why are companies and people like these getting the book thrown at them? Because they're breaking every rule in the book. And it's not that they don't know the rules. If you've been in this business a while, you don't need to be told the rules. You know the antitrust laws, the Sherman Act, Clayton Act, Robinson-Patman, FTC, state laws, international laws. You know the rules. Don't communicate with competitors on prices, discounts, production levels, terms of sale. Don't divide territories or customers among competitors. Don't agree with customers on resale prices. Don't join a boycott or threaten one unilaterally or engage in other unfair competitive practices. Don't discriminate against customers in matters of price, terms of sale, or allocation of product. There's nothing new here. What is new is the rising wave of tough criminal enforcement that's targeting all kinds of companies, institutions, and individuals that could be targeting you. Prosecutors, plaintiffs, and the courts are throwing the book at antitrust violators. Don't let this happen to your company. Don't let it happen to you.